Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're very excited for this session. Before we start the session, if anyone would like to volunteer to come down, we would love to have you nearby. It'll make it feel cozy. We respect if you don't, but we'd love for you to come further down. Also, there will be a QR code at the end. There is a QR code here at the table. Once the session is over, you are more than invited to come down and get that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're here with the powerhouses of the mental health judicial system. Yes, see? They have years of experience. They are passionate. They are advocates. They see every individual that crosses their path as an individual, not just a number. And finally, they have one more trait that I know that no one knows about. They're very vocal people. I don't know if you knew that, but all three are very vocal. So it is my pleasure to introduce the following. We have the Honorable Judge Kazen from Probate Court 1. We have the Honorable Judge Huff from County Court 12, Mental Health Court. And we have Judy Unkefer. She is our Assistant District Attorney. So we will turn this over to Judge Huff. She would like to say a few words.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. And I really thank you all for coming to this track that I've had for the entire day. So you've seen me here. So they told me I was volunteered to do the Justice and Reform track. So from 8 to 4:30. But I think it's turning out really great. We have one more workshop after this one. And I invite you all to stay to that workshop. It's about the 1622 law that I think everybody in Texas should know about, okay? But anyway, I wanted to explain a little bit about the panel here today. When I became a judge, and I ran for judgeship in 2018, so I was sworn in on January 1 of 2019. So upon taking the bench, the mental health court was in that County Court 12, which I was very interested in taking over and improving that program. But something I noticed about the programs in the Bexar County, that there are three judges that mainly run and preside over mental health at the Bexar County Courthouse. So that was me, Judge Huff. I preside over the mental health court. Judge Kazen presides over civil commitments, just one of the things he does, but dealing with the mental health civil commitments. And Judge Carruthers is competency. So just so you guys know, Judge Carruthers was due, he's in the booklet, he was due to be presenting today, but it was an unexpected death in his family, so he couldn't be here. And Sally, very well qualified, you guys just heard her. So Sally agreed to step in for Judge Carruthers. And Sally, you're gonna see Sally is just as knowledgeable. She's worked with Judge Carruthers for years. How many years, Sally? 7 years. So she's well equipped to handle and tell you guys about Judge Carruthers' court. So what I noticed was that people in the community often it was so confusing for people in the community to understand these different mental healths in the judiciary, because people would often ask me about competency, about getting someone that was competency in the mental health court, and vice versa, these things. So what I always tell people is like, look, in the mental health court, it is completely voluntary. I cannot order or mandate anyone into that program. Judge Kazen's court, someone can be civilly committed against their will. That's a civil commitment. And if they're a danger to themselves or other, that person can be, is that correct, Judge Kazen? Against their will. And Judge Carruthers the same way. That, the competency, oftentimes those individuals don't want to be in a competency hearing, but that can be done against their will. So that's the difference, the main difference. But we're going to break it down for you guys now. But I wanted to explain to you and tell you why this panel came to be, trying to explain to the public the different judges that preside over the different issues of mental health at the courthouse. And I hope you guys learn a lot today, ask a lot of questions. So at the end, write your questions down and bring them up, okay? Here we go. Let's get going.
Judge Kazen.
All right. I almost feel bad because you guys have heard me for the last hour. I want to echo what Judge Huff in the few minutes I have with you said. The term mental health court, that's a tough one because everyone's trying to figure out what the mental health court is. And I've always thought it was a really great thing that people wonder if the probate mental health court is a mental health court, or the competency restoration court is the mental health court, or the specialty mental health court is a mental health court. I never thought I would see the day when we had so many courts attending to mental health that you all would be confused about it. I mean, that's a wonderful thing, right? But there really are three different ways, three different paths that we travel. If you're charged with an offense and you go on probation, we in Bexar County have worked very hard. And I used to be a county court at law judge, just like Judge Huff was about 20-something years ago. And I used to do one of the drug courts, one of the specialty courts back then. But now we have drug courts that are specialty courts, prostitution courts that are specialty courts, juvenile courts that are specialty courts, mental health courts that are specialty courts, etc. The way those work is if somebody is on probation or trying to be diverted from probation, depends on the court, you can say, Judge Huff, I promise to be part of your program. I promise to let you help me help myself, but I'm going to be responsible to you. And I know you're going to be tough on me, and I know you're going to make me take my meds, and I know you're going to wrap a team around me. But if I succeed, let me have my charges dismissed, or let me not have a final conviction. Let me get off probation. So that's the specialty courts. It's in the context of somebody who has already been in the system, and it's a route for a more humane outcome. All right? The other one, you just heard about it for the last hour. So somebody's been convicted, but they don't have the wherewithal to be convicted, charged, but they don't have the wherewithal to be charged because they can't be prosecuted, because they have a mental illness, because they need to be restored. So that is another avenue to treatment in the context of getting you ready to be prosecuted. So the first one, the first road is, I'm already in the criminal justice system, I'm already on probation. What can you do to me to do something special that gets me through this system with your help, Judge Huff? I'm not convicted yet, but I've been arrested and I'm so ill I can't be prosecuted. What can you do for me to get me ready to be convicted and get treatment? Sally. And then me, on the probate side, and mind you, I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've been wearing the robe in one form or another for that long. And I think what Judge Huff and I have learned, it's just a robe. It's not a crown. We're not kings or queens. We are more than the gavel. We can help people, right? Well, on my side of the house, it's been around. I can't take credit. It's been around forever. That was the original way that we put people in a hospital where they were so ill that they became a danger to themselves or others, but had not been prosecuted, had not gone to probation, were not under charges. Did you know that every day in Bexar County, every year in Bexar County, we detain people. They become dangerous to themselves or others. They need to get them to the hospital. Officers, please come over here. My son is delusional. He's yelling at the sky. I need your help. What do I do? Please don't take him to jail. Please don't arrest him. They emergency detain them and take them to a hospital. It could be anything as little as being delusional to threatening to blow up a school bus, right? Staring at the sun all day. So an officer takes them to a hospital. Did you know we execute over 10,000 emergency detentions in Bexar County? Think about that for a second. And when you think about that, that's 10,000 people that aren't going to Judge Huff, thank God. 10,000 people that aren't going to Sally necessarily. Okay? Although some of them do. And then they get there, and if they're ill, we get them to the hospital, and we keep them in the hospital because everybody has the right to refuse treatment. Now, I only have 1/3 of this, a little bit. I don't want to go too far over, but it's because on our side of it, the mental health side, okay, what we do, you have to remember, we are taking somebody in the middle of the night off to a hospital where they're probably going to be restrained and medicated who have not broken the law. So there's this whole system wrapped around that. where they have to come to a judge to be sure that their rights are preserved, that there's a reason for doing that to somebody who's never broken the law. That's the civil commitment side and kind of the short picture of it. So I just wanted to spend a little time. I know they're going to ask us some questions along the way, but I wanted to spend some time to be sure that everybody understood kind of the differences, because I get calls all the time. My son's in jail. What can you do? Sally. My son's on probation. Judge Huff. My neighbor is so ill, she's throwing rocks at the dog. Me. So that kind of puts it in perspective with the different paths and who we are up here. Fair enough?
Yeah, we like to stand. Gives me a better chance to see you guys and see me. So I'm going to give you just a few, maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and a very short overview of the mental health, the Bexar County's mental health court, my court. So I like to start with, in Bexar County, we have 15 county courts. Of those 15 county courts, 2 of those courts are dedicated civil. They do nothing but civil work. 2 are dedicated domestic violence, and if you were here this morning, you saw one of the judges. County Court 7 and County Court 13 do nothing, absolutely nothing but domestic violence cases in Bexar County. And those cases, believe me, are completely overloaded. So, but those courts also still we can still get referrals from those 2 cases to the mental health court. So the 15 county courts, 2 are civil, that leaves 11 courts. And of those 11 courts, anybody that randomly, you get a charge, your case is randomly going to be appointed to any of those 11 cases, except for the 2 domestic violence cases. All the domestic violence cases by far are going to go to those courts. So say, for instance, I'm County Court 12. And by the way, 1 through 15, that's not a district. That's just a sequential number. That means the next county court in Bexar County will be 16. Okay, so it isn't really. It's just a name. It doesn't mean like a district, like some people think you're a district, or no. It's just a sequential number. So when you get arrested, you get assigned to a court. A mental health issue presents itself. Then you can ask your defense attorney. You yourself can say, can this case be transferred over to Judge Huff's mental health court? And we try to make it as easy as possible. All the 5 misdemeanor county courts are, the county courts that have the 5 specialty courts are on 1 sheet of paper. So you just pick that paper up and it'll say drug court, DWI court, refugee court, the veterans court, and the mental health court. You just check off. The judge signs it, and then the process is started. We send that piece of paper over to my case managers, and the evaluation is started. That evaluation to see if that person is going to be deemed eligible for the program. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for you guys. So if you have a defense attorney that is not interested or won't do this, then just bypass that defense attorney. Just call Michelle up, give the person's name, their case number, their birthday. Hey, I have a relative. Could you see if this person would be eligible for the program? We'll start the process. We'll reach out to that defense attorney, because that's an issue. Like, so these individuals are represented by defense attorneys, so we have to get that defense attorney's permission to talk to their client. And a lot of times the whole process stops right there because we can't get the defense attorneys to respond to us to get the process started. And since I became judge of the mental health court, I've made a big push, just the biggest push, to try to educate the courthouse, the defense attorneys, the probation officers, the community that these programs started. These programs have been up and running in Bexar County for over 20 years. They're not new. It's just nobody was just telling the community about them. And I got a big mouth. I believe in education. Education to me is freedom. It's power. The more you know. And so when I took the bench, I'm in my 2nd term, 6 years now. Why aren't we telling the community that these programs exist? You guys need to know, because guess what? You're all paying for these. These are tax-supported entities. Every last one of you that pay taxes are paying for these programs. Like, you got a right to know about these programs. And my court is open to the public. You can come in and watch and shadow the program. I want the community to, I want you guys to know that these programs exist. So I know I probably have a few minutes left. So what the mental health court is restorative justice, therapeutic justice. It's a wraparound service for an individual that when they get accepted to the mental court, that we have a plan for them that is so individualized. And I'll give you a short day in the life of someone that is in the mental health court. So the program is 12 months long. Every single day that they're in that program, they have to call a UA call line. And I do mean every single day. their birthdays, Christmas, 365 days. And when they call that UA call line, that number will randomly tell them if they have to go UA. So they call, I think the UA call line opens up as early as 6 or 7 in the morning. Then they make that call, they find out they have the UA, they have till 3:30 to get over to the UA place. And believe me, this is a constant lecture and argument in my program. You know you have to call, I'll tell them, you're not going to get up tomorrow and like, do I have to call? The answer is yes. Yes, you have to call. It's every day, right? It's every single day. I tell them this is the low-hanging fruit. You know you have to call. And it is teaching them responsibility, continuity, accountability, because believe me, their lives are in chaos because just about the majority of the people that come to my program are dual diagnosed. They're suffering mental health and they're substance abuse. They're self-medicating. So the team has to deal with these issues. It's a 5-phase program. And the first phase is 30 days and all we're requiring of them is to be honest. Make their appointments, and very soon they're going to be promoted up to phase 2. Phase 2, all the programs out of the phases out there are 90 days. They get to phase 5, they're just about done. They're getting ready to graduate. All of these programs have 2 graduation ceremonies a year. In the spring and in the fall. We have one coming up on December 6th. And if you've never been to any of these graduations, I highly encourage you, bring your box of tissues, you will be crying. It is the most inspiring thing you are going to see in the judiciary. I went to the felony drug course. Oh my God, to see those veterans that have fallen down in life back on their feet. It is the most inspiring thing you could say. Like, the bad things, people going to prison, the murders. Come and see something inspiring in the judiciary. All of the 14 programs in those booklets have 2 ceremonies a year. And you're welcome to come to any of those, right? Call us up. I post it all over Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the time. So that December 6th one, everyone is here, cordially invited to come and witness yourself. I usually have every graduation of between 20 and 25 people graduating. Now, so I have 2 dockets, 3 dockets really. The post adjudication docket is on Mondays from 1 to 5, and then every other Thursday I have the PTD docket. That's the pre-trial diversion. That is the docket we talked about this morning. Where if that person successfully completes the program, their case is dismissed. The case is dismissed, and it's completely expunged off their record, giving them a true start. You can't find that case; it's gone. All the records are destroyed. And somebody that, because the majority of the people that usually come to my court, a lot of them have assault cases, right? The family is fed up. And I get a lot of young ones. I've been getting some 17, 18, 19, 20, and believe me, they are just as immature as that age would have you think they are. But they're in the program. My team keeps telling me, because I keep threatening to kick out the 17-year-old, Judge Huff, that's the age where they need to learn the most. Okay. And it's true, because if we can get the young boys and the young girls at age 17 and 18 to understand about their mental health, that is going to serve them well, right? That's going to serve them very well. But I tell you, it is a struggle. I'm a mother of 3, so believe me, I know it is a struggle. But the team is right. The earlier we can get them intervene in that mental health, understanding their diagnosis, it is the best for them. So the 365 days calling, and then we have they have to go to group counseling. They have to go to individual counseling. We have MRT classes. That's more recognition thinking. Get rid of the criminal thinking. We have healthy relationships, because I found that so many of them do not understand what a relationship is, boundaries, and they were telling me, I would love to go to a class about, I sent some to one and it was just not very good. And that person that was graduating, he said, it was such a shame, because I really would like to have known more about my relationship and how to improve my relationship with my wife. And I thought, man, I asked re-entry, could you guys craft a class for us? So they did, a 4-week class, a booklet, training, and everything. And the participants really enjoy it. They'll come back and say, I never knew these boundaries and your facial expressions, your stance, all the things. And that's just love. It's family, it's brothers, sisters, neighbors, relationships. If no one has ever told you, you don't know what you don't know. So that healthy relationships class, and then so the phases are going up. So the team will determine the phase 1, phase 2, because we usually don't start dealing with the substance abuse till maybe phase 2, maybe phase 3, or sometimes right off the bat, if we really know that presents a problem. And doing that interview where the case manager is talking to them, they'll find out things about them, because they know that I'm going to be so in debt. Who's that person's support system? Well, they're a foster child. right? Do they have children? Do they have custody of the children? Because all that's going to play a part in how well that person is going to do in the program. And I know this, and I want my team to know this. I'm very in depth of how far I'm going to go when I'm asking questions of the team about this person when they're doing intake, because I want to know: are they in counseling now? Have they ever had mental health? Because we can get a 60-year-old that has never dealt with their bipolar ever in their life, right? And these things play a part in how how well this person is going to do in the program. And I don't have to tell the clinicians out there these things. So these are some of the things. I know my time is about up. That if you can come and ask me questions, you guys are all invited to come to the Bexar County Courthouse and shadow the mental health court. Come educate yourself. Come watch us do a staffing. Come watch a multidisciplinary team conduct the staffing. Come watch as the participants come in and how we deal with them. The incentives, the sanctions, like what I have to do, jury box, the things I have to do. It can go all the way up to a 2-day jail sanction. Because what we're trying to do, the team, we're trying to get this person to graduation. We know that if they successfully complete this program, we won't see them back in the judiciary. Now, we're trying to lessen recidivism. Like my mental health court, my recidivism rate is only 3%. 97% of the people that go through my program, if they successfully complete it, we will not see them in the judiciary again. And we measure that by, do we see them the first year arrested again, the third year, the fifth year? We keep data on this. So it saves the county money, it saves you taxpayers money to do these specialty programs, because we're keeping people out of jail. You know how much it costs a person that's in the Bexar County jail that has a mental health illness? That's $250 a day versus someone that doesn't have a mental health illness. And so when we're trying to give this data to Commissioners Court to justify why we need more money for our program, we're saying, it sounds counterintuitive, but by supporting these programs, we're saving the county money. We really are. And we all know that someone that has a criminal trespass case, they have to have a defense attorney. They're in jail, they have to be fed. That's money spent over and over. I've seen people, criminal trespassing, 30, 40, 50 cases of these, keep getting arrested, the same thing over and over. That person needs true, real help to deal with the substance abuse, the mental health, the homelessness. Get them to the program that we can deal with them, because this is a wraparound service. We provide so much for them. Bus passes, we pay for their UAs, we have a food bank, we give them $50 HEB card. And the people don't realize that things like that occur in the judiciary, but it does, because we know, I as a Judge Kazen know, that to keep someone that has mental health and substance abuse out of the judiciary, you have to really tackle that in such a targeted, on-purpose, wraparound way. Thank you, guys. I'll pass it on to Sally.
Is this on? Is this on?
Yes.
These two are very hard to follow. I don't have their energy. I've already kind of talked about Judge Carruthers' court pretty extensively. I will brag on him. He was on the bench, or has been on the bench, for over 30 years. Bexar County established a district magistrate court in the 80s. And with the vision that Judge Carruthers would be the one central place to handle all things related to competency and sanity. And now, 30 years later, other cities are following suit. It is the most efficient and best way to handle these cases. So, and Judge Carruthers is, it's going to be a real loss to lose him on the bench, although I wish him happy retirement. He deserves it. But if you've ever had a loved one in Judge Carruthers' court, he's compassionate and extremely knowledgeable. So I wish he was here. I've already talked about my court. I will say one thing else I'm a part of is the San Antonio Fusion Behavioral Threat Assessment Group. That is an intensive law enforcement team made up of mental health providers, probation, pretrial services, law enforcement, myself. And I feel like you and the community should know, because if their goal, they're tasked with mitigating threats of mass violence. and they do it every day, and it doesn't make the news. And I watch these men and women with SAPD and BCSO, and they spend hours with individuals who are severely mentally ill and have articulated a threat to the community. And if you are a parent and you ever are in the position, the unfortunate position to need or have contact with the behavioral threat team, I would highly encourage you to lean into them. They are there to mitigate and connect to treatment. And I keep telling them that they need to present at Pathways, but they are currently in Baltimore, I believe, presenting this week. They were presented here in San Antonio earlier this week. They are considered the gold standard in the nation for threat assessment. And they aren't talked about too much, but I think our community needs to know that they exist. I know I've introduced them to my children's school, and if you are a parent and they reach out to you, talk to them, tell them what's going on. Again, their goal is to mitigate a threat. So since I'm up here, I thought that would be a good thing to share about, but.
Great. Now, Judge Kazen will talk about assisted outpatient treatment.
So I can't go on to talk about outpatient treatment, which I'm going to. That's part of the spectrum of my kind of side of the house, without stopping and sharing something with you that just happened. We received a call some time ago from a family member who is very concerned with an individual who is a high utilizer. Had a long history of just in and out of jail, not wanting to take care of her treatment, homeless. And I talked to the sister last week, and she said, what can we do? And I said, well, there's a lot of broken paths, but we'll do what we can do. And so I had my investigators out looking, and I just got the text that she died of heat stroke yesterday. I'm sorry, it bothers me because I don't want to use it as part of this demonstration, but this is about life and death. I just don't think enough people get that. And if I can make it any real to those of you who don't already know how real it is, it's real. One of the things we were trying to do for her was, if we could get the officer to detain her one more time, if we could get her to a hospital, if we could get the hospital to keep her even though she didn't have insurance, if we could get the doctors to put in the extra effort, then we were willing to wrap the assisted outpatient treatment team around her. That's the power Judge Huff said I have when an individual doesn't do their treatment and they've been taken to a hospital. The hospitals have got a choice. They can say, all right, you're stable enough now, you're out of here. Or they can keep them a little longer under criteria so that we can then take the next step to getting them treatment. And sadly and honestly, about half the hospitals in Bexar County really do go out of their way to make that program work. And about half the hospitals are Medicaid's out, goodbye. That's just the truth of it. I see a lot of people shaking their heads, you know that. And that has to stop. But had we been able for that young lady to get her to past all those hurdles, we might have been able to get the team around her. The outpatient treatment team, once I put them on that court order, works much like Judge Huff's protocol. And that goes back to when I was a drug court from 20-something years ago. It's the same therapeutic protocol. They report to a judge once a week. The team reports to the judge on a regular basis. The team and the judge make sure that the individual is complying with treatment. And if not, there's some consequence. You might go back to the hospital. You might get lectured. You might get a hug. Who knows? But you're not flying under the radar anymore. You're not somebody we're going to find dead of a heat stroke, one would hope. Yeah, I hate to be the downer at this point, but that's what we do on our side. We do, remember I said we do about 10,000 EDs in San Antonio? About 5,000 hearings. That turns into 5,000 mental health hearings a year in my court alone, and 2,700 cases in my court alone. And this team, this outpatient team, along with Judge Huff's own team, tries to make the difference on a daily basis for people that sometimes don't want to be helped. But I can't stop and ask, before I pass the microphone, that you all think about what I said. This is about life and death, okay?
Judge Kazen, a question. What does a family member, what do they need? What kind of information do you need for a mental health warrant if somebody wants to file a mental health warrant?
Okay. So one of the options that you have in this road, in this path, is if you have a loved one. It's got to be a combination of things, because remember that law protects them. You've got to show me that there's evidence of mental illness, and that because of that mental illness, they've become dangerous to self or others, such that we have to detain them. I'll give you an example. My son is drinking all the time, he's not paying attention, and he's out there driving, he could hurt somebody. That's a bad circumstance, but that's not that immediate danger. My daughter is a cutter, and she gets very depressed, and when she gets like this, she starts to cut on herself. Yesterday, we took the razor blades away, and all day long, she says she wants to join her grandmother in heaven. I'm going to issue a warrant for that girl, and I'm going to pick her up, and we're going to get her. She's not going to get arrested. I'm going to get her to a hospital to at least be assessed for the first 48 hours to try to intervene. If anyone here has a loved one who has become dangerous because of their mental illness, to the point that they're a danger to themselves or others, and in that type, not quite homicidal, not quite suicidal, but on the verge, let me act for you. Come down to the courthouse, you fill out an affidavit, it does not cost you anything, it must be truthful, and I will send a specially trained team of officers to take her to the hospital. I can't guarantee what the hospital is going to do after that first 48 hours. As we know, we've talked about that. But you have a resource other than nothing at all. We can at least get them to the hospital. So that's called a judge's mental health warrant. Or you can call 911 and make sure that you ask for a CIT officer, Crisis Intervention Trained Officer. So even if you don't come to me before 5 o'clock to get the warrant, when you call 911, make sure they know, or the new crisis hotline for mental health, make sure they know it's a mental health issue. Make sure they know that you want a mental health officer to respond. And now, more often than not, that's what will happen. And now, more often than not, they'll be part of those 10,000 emergency detentions instead of the 30,000 arrests. Fair enough? I hope that answers it for everybody.
Judge Huff, this question is for you. So part of the program that you have is very tough. So what is the most challenging stage, or what is the most challenging situations that they go through, and how do they overcome that?
I would say the most challenging part is when they first come into the program and they just don't understand what this program is about. They're not calling the UA call line, and that's on the team to kind of to get them acclimated to the program. And soon enough, when they really find out how tough I am and that you are going to do this program and I'm not going to just let you slide on things, because a lot of them, we get a lot of dropouts. The 17 and the 18-year-olds that I'm talking about, they're not in high school, right? The parents feel sorry because they know they're like bipolar, and they're just living life, doing what they want. They're not working. And when they get to me, I'm not having any of that. You're going to do this program, and you're going to do this program right. And I'm not accepting any excuses, not even one. The team will tell you how tough I am. I'm not, well, Judge, I just didn't wake up, but no, you're going to do a jury box sanction. That means that they have to come to court and sit in that jury box and listen to me prattle all morning in my regular court from 9 to 12. And the sanctions just keep coming up. Like it starts off with me giving them a lecture, a talking to, an admonishment. Hey, you had 4 missed calls. You know you have to call every day. You had 3 missed UAs. Why didn't you go UA? And they'll have their, plethora of excuses or whatnot, but of course I'm not accepting any of them. So an admonishment, this is your warning. Then the next time, okay, a jury box sanction. The next time I may give them, I'm gonna give you a 2-day jail sanction. I'm gonna hold this jail sanction in abeyance. Meaning you don't have to go to jail today, but if this behavior continues and I have to have another talk with you, then you're going into jail for 2 days. And nobody wants to go to jail, like they have to go to jail on a Friday and stay there till Sunday and Monday. Nobody wants to do that. They are hollering and crying then. I didn't know, I'll take it more seriously, Judge Huff. So we're going up in those sanctions. And those sanctions are designed to deter them. And I'm telling them, I don't want you to go to jail. I'm hoping that you'll look at this and say, I'll take my medications and I'll call that UA call because I don't want to go to jail. But some of them just push the envelope. They just push the envelope because, like I said, I'm changing mindsets. Like, if someone comes to me and they have a 10-year heroin addiction, they've been prostituting themselves for, 14 years, and I'm trying to flip their mind in 1 year. I'm trying to change. This person is 34, and this is how they've lived their life for 34 years, and I have 12 months to flip that. You know how difficult that is? And I'm coming against toxic family dynamics, bad coping skills. And I'm trying to get them to see, to trust us, to trust the team, trust the process. And I'll tell them, I'm reading you like you're reading me. Read me. Am I for real? Am I just kidding with you? As a team, do we really care for you? Read me. Everyone has the ability to assess a situation. Is this team for real? Because they all come in like, oh, you're the enemy, you're the judge, you're the probation, you're not really for me. And they soon learn that we really care. And they get in that, they come in, I always say, they have this one moment of clarity to their defense attorney. I need help. And then they'll sign the contract, because they have to sign a contract. And they have to go, the defense attorney goes over all the conditions, all the things we're going to have them do, right? Now, when I told you guys that I cannot order someone to this program, once they sign that contract, I got them then. You ain't leaving, so you're in this program now. You signed the contract, and that contract is legal and binding. I want out of this program. I'm going to do my time in jail. Oh, no, you're not getting off easy like that. You're going to do this program. You have the ability to do this program, right? They all think I can't do it. If 20 people are graduating twice a year, 25 people, there's nothing magical about those people. You can do this program too. And it is hard, and I want them to know up front how hard this program is, because I don't even know if I could do this program. There's a lot of things we're requiring of them. And they're navigating this around their lives, their children. I had one mother that had 8 children. She was single, and then she took her brother's 3 kids. This woman had 11 kids, and she worked full time. And she successfully graduated the program. So don't tell me nothing about you're 18 and you don't even work and you can't do this program. No, I'm not hearing it. And I'm pushing them. I'm pushing them so hard, and I'm telling them, I'm so proud of you. You can do this. I see the intelligence in your eyes. Don't doubt yourself. You can do this, because it's that underlying of everyone is letting them get off easy in life, and then they hit this program. And I'm not letting them loose. I'll keep them. Like, I have one of my team members, Judge Huff, I really do think we should administratively discharge. No, not yet. I haven't gotten fed up with them. She's over there. By the way, my mental health team, could you guys stand up? I want to brag on my mental health team. Stand up. I'm going to embarrass them. They're here. Come on, stand up, guys. My countercourt 12. Come on, stand up. Stand up. So my case manager, my treatment team, William right there is a mentor. William, raise your hand. William graduated the program. He comes back to pay it forward, right? My case managers are here. My PTD bond officer, probation officers are here. These are the team. I'm not a clinician. I'm a judge. I have this team around me. You guys can have a seat. Thank you. That I'm listening to what they're saying about each individual. And I'll say to the team, you guys are the ones in the field talking to them. Tell me, what do you think? That this person, like they'll say, Judge, I think this person's alcohol monitoring device, it's time to come off. And they've met their 6 months. Really? How many times did they not blow? How many skips did they make? Really? Should it come off? And if they say, yes, Judge, I think, okay, I'm trusting my team member, then let's outside an order to take the device off. I'm putting that trust, and I really do encourage the team, like, to tell me what they really think. If I give a sanction and they don't think that person deserves the sanction, Judge Huff, I really don't think this person deserves the sanction. And sometimes I'll say yes. I'm saying no, they're going to do it. They're gonna do the sanction too. And then sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'll change my mind. But it's all a team effort. It's a multidisciplinary team that we have to have 2 prosecutors, we have to have 2 defense attorneys, a police officer, treatment, case managers, doctors, providers, probation officers on this team. Every last one of those people give vital input into how this person is going to perform and how well this person is going to do in the program. But that starting point with the question was that difficult point is getting them used to what kind of program they're, because I should have said this to begin with. These programs are not adversarial. And that's a hard concept in the judiciary for people to understand that I'm not against you. I want you to succeed. I want you to do this program so bad, but you yourself, individual, have to do this, have to want it 10 times more than me. And God knows I want every last one of my participants to graduate. It's not adversarial. We're all on the same page. And sometimes the defense attorneys are coming with that adversarial. They're going to fight. I'm not negotiating anyone's treatment. It's not like this. It's just not that kind of party. And then slowly they get to understand that, oh, this is not adversarial. No, it's not adversarial. We all want the same thing with the success. We want what the family wants. We want what this individual wants. Your place is not in jail. You have a rightful place that the Lord God has given you, and it doesn't belong in jail. So I know I've talked over my time, and I know Sally's there. So thank you. Thank you. That is one of the hardest parts.
And I just want to point out that the judge gives sanctions, but she also gives incentives, so it's not all bad. So again, that is just an incentive for them to continue to do better. So we appreciate the teams. They work really hard. Sally, one final question for you. What are some of the strategies you use with families to get information, to try to, someone who's been incompetent to stand trial, what kind of information do you need from the families to help you maybe dismiss the case, maybe pursue the case? How do you make that decision?
Well, it's still on, I guess. Okay. She's a tough act to follow. Both of them are tough acts to follow.
She's great. She's being modest. She's great.
We spend a lot of time with families. My team and I, since we're having teams stand up, can Bianca and Alexis stand up? Okay. Ashley, I think she might have left, but these are 2 prosecutors that are incredible and have embraced the process and the system, and they give their hearts to it, and they too have spent hours on the phone with family members. You girls can sit. I'm very proud of them both. And they've showed me a lot. Both of them have carried me through. It's been a challenging year coming off of COVID and the system. January, I think I kind of hit a wall. I know I hit a wall. And these 2 came along. I was very blessed that the county finally recognized that I couldn't do it by myself any longer and gave me these 2 individuals. And they are impressive is not enough to say. But one thing Alexis told me, she said, I just thought the system worked. And I've used this earlier this week at another presentation because it was an aha moment for me. Alexis goes, I'm just mind blown that the bureaucracies don't work. And I kind of thought, welcome to old age. But she reinvigorated me. Both of them have reinvigorated me to keep the fight going. So when you ask, what can families do? Families can, I prefer email, and here's why. Anything that you tell us, we are mandated and want to, we don't even, but we have to share that information with the defense. So when you call me and you give me a few words and I say, email it to me, It's not that we're blowing you off. It's that we need to make sure what you've written down or what you're telling us is given all back to the defense attorney, and we forward it on to the hospital if they need to be, if they're already at the hospital. We forward it on to the evaluator. There's an evaluator here in the room, a psychologist here in the room that does some of our the court-appointed evaluations. We forward that information to them. So, if you feel like you want to share the documentation with us, please do so. We pass it forward. If you don't know who your defense attorney is, or if they're not calling, email us and we will forward it to the defense attorney and the MAC, and the court will let people know. We will help you connect, okay? But we also will spend time on the phone with you. And if it's 45 minutes, or if it's an hour, or if it's an hour and a half, we do that. We understand that we need to be there to help talk you through the process as well. And these girls are very, very dedicated to do that, although I'm about to lose Alexis, which I'm really, really sad. But Bianca cannot leave me.
That's an order.
That's not going to happen. But so, I just encourage you to speak up. And not to go negative, but I have been on the phone with moms who don't want, and grandmas who find it difficult to acknowledge what's really going on, right? You're begging for help, but it's hard to say the words. I've had to barricade myself in the bathroom. I've had to run down the street. Because no parent really wants to verbalize that out loud. But as I tell families on a daily basis, if you are not there to advocate for your child, who will? And I have had families, parents, that are no longer here to advocate. I came from a memorial service this morning of the 10-year anniversary of Chief Pigmentel. He was the Elmendorf police chief that was trying desperately to get a young citizen of his community who was severely mentally ill, mental health treatment. He drove him to clinicians who released him, only for him to be killed, shot, mere days later, 10 years ago today. I know that that is not every mental health individual, okay? And please do not think that that's what I'm saying. My audience, the people that come to us, are often to the point of desperation. And so I just encourage parents that it's best to acknowledge what's hard to acknowledge.
Wow. Thank you, Sally, for those words. So now you've heard about their courts. One thing that I want you to just kind of sit here and observe is that you heard about what they do, you saw some of their team members, but I really hope you heard and you saw their heart, and multiply that by every single one of the Bexar County specialty courts, the teams. All of them have the same heart, or they would not be doing this job. It is passion. You have to want to do it. And even though they have stumbling blocks, even though they get frustrated, they are there to do the best that they can. So I really want to thank all of the Bexar County employees that work with these courts. Let's give them a round of applause.
Here, I've been doing this for 20 years, so I'm going to one-up everybody. All the staff, including mine, stand up. Lilia, go ahead, stand up. Stand up. You guys, come on. Come on. There you go. You guys too. All right.